Hi, everybody, and
Hi, welcome to Friday Night Right.
we are here. We are here on Discord for the first time, and we thank you all for joining us. I am Brian Scala, that is Evie Black and Samantha Moran, and the large box you see up on top is our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Jeff Spaur.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks for coming. I'm excited.
Me too.
Yes. And this is our first one here, so there's probably going to be some hiccups, you guys, so please bear with us, but we are trying to make a nice safe space for everyone where we can get eyes on our guests like Jeff here. So standard behavior rules that we posted about in the Discord servers. Just make sure you're being kind to everyone. Please keep your videos and mic off so that we're not interrupting Jeff and everything that's going on up here. And then when we do our offer to do a giveaway, we do still have that chat, like Evie said, okay?
Absolutely.
Yep, just hit the little chat icon if you're on your phone, and it should pull it up. I have it pulled up here on my computer, so I see you. Yeah, you can ask questions of our authors. You can join the giveaway, all that fun stuff. So I'm watching the chat.
Good, because I'm on my phone and it's already a small screen, so I don't have it popped up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if someone poses a question, I'll let you know.
Awesome. So,
yep.
So I'm going to put myself up on, make myself big on my screen for a minute, just to introduce myself, and I'll do everything. I'll go down the list. I am Brian Scala. Hello. You might know me from TikTok, but now you know me from Discord. I write Sports, Spice, and Second Chances, and these are my books. They're still inverted, but that's okay. This is Core Memories, my latest release. Bryce and Aaron do some releasing of their own in it many times, and it's pretty spicy. It's, my little friends with benefits entree with a side of trauma and a sweet glass of love to wash it all down. I have some character art I can show you later. I don't have to censor that. Eddie the Legend is my award-winning sports fiction with a little romance, baseball, broken dreams, found family, and a love to fix it all. And Being Made, which I believe Sam is reading currently, and she says it's good, so I will believe her. Yes, it is a good book. It is the rise and fall of my rock star and my basketball player, and how they met and at the end and realized what was really important. So, Miss Evie. My turn. I like to go before Samantha because she's got like 30 million books. So I'm Evie Black, Awesome Books, Awkward Marketing. Book 1 is Unbalanced, is of Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing, and Supernatural had an angsty slow burn baby. So angels, demons, found family, forced proximity. Leona, she's a badass with thick thighs who ends lives, and Xandros is the simp that calls her abuse foreplay. We're talking Bear Shifters, Reverse Bully, Grumpy Sunshine. Abyssal, Donovan's a dick. It's in the blurb. So, this is Shadow Daddies, Witches, New Power, Student-Teacher Trope, and an abusive relationship. And that's all I got. All right, I guess I have to do my bajillion books now. Thanks, Evie. Hi, I'm Samantha Moran. I'm an award-winning author of horror, thriller, and fantasy. Everything supernatural, some things spicy. I have Without You, which is like the TV show The Ghost Whisperer, love, loss, and life after someone is gone. I have The Ruin, which is an award-winning urban fantasy and medical thriller with a dash of romance, where she's trying to save her mom from the medical system and the mistakes her ancestors made. I have Wicked Little Rabbit, which is spooky, spicy, Alice in Wonderland reimagining. Check your triggers because this list is as long as my forearm and your safety is more important than my sales. Feelings in the Dark, which is Demons, Hellhounds, A Deal Gone Wrong in 48 Hours to Save Her Soul, a 2-time award-winning novella with supernatural horror. And its sequel, Bound and Betrayed, which is psychological supernatural horror and thriller, schizophrenia versus demonic possession. And in my new release that's coming out in March, Apothecary of Curiosities, which is cozy horror, which is a fun genre to try to explain. But it's dark whimsy. Grim Reaper's running an apothecary and getting into trouble because she got bored. The foil cover showed up today in my mailbox. I'd show you how pretty she is.
And those are currently available for pre-order on my website as standalone books or PR boxes. They are signing exclusive and will not be available except at events after release. But that is me. Let's go ahead and move over to our guest tonight, Jeff, who can tell us a little bit about his books.
Well, hi, I'm Jeff Spaur. I write young adult books focused, as of right now, mostly dystopian with some fantasy. I'm a little embarrassed because I only have the first book right now because I did a high school event not that long ago, and I realized I left most of my copies of my books in my office at work, so I don't have them here. But here is the Ashen Yard. This is the first. I know it was featured on the announcement, and I wrote the Ashen Cleanse, which is the sequel, which finishes this two-part series right here. So if you think of the height of dystopian around the Hunger Games, plus all those other books, that's where a lot of the inspiration came from, and then dealing with young adults all day and wanting to write stories for them, that was the inspiration for writing this book right here. No spice, anything like that. I could keep it tame for these adolescents here, but I'm just going to say it's a little intimidating being here with all these award-winning authors right here.
I haven't won any. Don't feel bad.
Soon, those thick thighs it's gonna happen.
Right?
What is
But
it?
I
What do
wanted
they
to
say?
say,
Thick thighs save lives?
Yeah.
well,
great.
usually, but hers end one. But Jeff, your book, The Ashen Yard, was so freaking good. Like, y'all don't understand. I waited a whole year, right? So, like, I became friends with him on TikTok, and he was just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then he, like, vanished for a few months and came back and was like, oh, yeah, I published it. And I'm like, are you... Like, I got so mad, and I immediately went and bought it, and it was so freaking good, so worth the wait. Like, I love it. Basically, like, I think that was the marketing strategy: disappear and then pop up and be like, "Oh yeah."
I teased you, then I ghosted you, then I just dropped it on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he straight up came out. Yeah, no, it's published, and book 2 will be out in a few months. I had a pre-order the second one too. I was like, you're not getting this by me again.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the award-winning author thing, we were all just told that if we don't tell people, it doesn't count. So it really doesn't change a whole lot.
Yeah, I did the dishes and cleaned out the cat litter earlier today. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah. I mommed 2 kids all day, so, whatever.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, regardless of whatever it is, whatever award, the fact that you can claim that's great. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. But we're here to talk about you.
Okay.
Yes, this is your turn to shine. And I understand we have a giveaway today, right?
Yes. Oh, I forgot to tell Evie. Yeah, I was because she wanted to know what exactly signed copies of the Ashen Yard and the physical copies, the Ashen Yard and the Ashen Cleanse at the end, and I'll send out what. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I had said the ebook because I wasn't sure, and I was like, well, he's probably giving away the first one, but yay, 2
Love
books.
a good signed copy.
Yeah, and the emoji going with the dystopian theme, and Brock, the main character. We don't have to censor ourselves. We're using the gun emoji.
Okay. All good.
Ooh, do we
All
have
right, I fixed it. Okay. Yeah, so our giveaway emoji tonight is a gun. We don't have to say pew pew anymore. That's what Evie was saying.
Yes.
We get to be adults now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when we do talk about NSFW stuff, we can actually show it. So that's kind of a neat switch with coming to Discord.
Yes.
Not too bad.
That means my sticky notes.
Oh, don't worry. I still have your sticky note locked and loaded somewhere. Oh, here it is. Right next to me. It's Evie. She now identifies as a sticky note, so she has to be on all my stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't I think I took that sticky note off of my NSFW art. Oh no, I still have it on. It looks sort of like this, but
Yeah,
you can tell what's down
I
there.
don't have
Poor
I
Bryce.
don't have not safe for work
Yeah.
art because
Yes.
I'm a prude. I put it all in the book.
Jeff doesn't either. He said so. So.
So
Well, he has a good reason. He's writing for kids.
true. Yes. So let's get started. Before we talk about your books, let's talk a little bit about you, Jeff. Who is Jeff Spaur? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, am I'm a middle school teacher, so hence the young adult. I have been for 16 years, and prior to that, I was actually a semi truck driver for Pepsi Cola for 10 years before I got into the teaching business. Was that a Coca Cola?
I thought we
So
were friends, but no longer. All right,
yeah,
you gonna
I grew up
shots
on it.
fired.
My dad worked there before I was even born, so I grew up on Pepsi. So
Okay, well, can
um,
you bring back Pepsi Twist? Because I was just talking about that tonight and how much I miss Pepsi Twist. Come on now.
I wish I had that power. I really did, but I don't. So yeah, I growing up, I wasn't much of a reader actually. I was the kid who was outside dribbling the basketball, shooting hoops, throwing the football, kicking the ball. I was so active. I would rather be outside doing that stuff than sitting down reading a book. So um, it it wasn't until my one of my friends actually introduced an author to me when I was in middle school, Brian Jacks. He wrote Mossflower, Red Wall, if you're familiar with that. And I fell in love with that. And it was my first experience with like fantasy writing. And I was like, I really like this. So I slowly got into reading, still preferred shooting the basketball rather than sitting down doing that, any reading or anything like that. So the reading and the writing didn't come until I was much older, actually after school, really.
So
Um, oh,
so
sorry. Oh, go ahead,
no,
Evie.
go for it. Go
No, I
for
was
it.
just going to say I should have said I've been married for 20 years. I have two kids, a middle schooler, a seventh grader, and a first grader. They're wonderful. My first grader just started basketball. He had his first basketball practice last night, and he was so excited. Um, yeah, pretty boring. I'm been a dad for so long, and for those of you who've been parents for so, you know how boring they are.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Edie.
No, I was just gonna ask, since you weren't into reading or writing or anything as a kid, what did you want to be when you grow up? Because I don't think you'd want be like, I'm gonna grow up and be an author when you didn't read.
Yeah, I wanted to do something, have that young dream of something professional. Basketball was my game. And for a long time, I was going to work hard. I wanted to get to the point where I'd be playing on TV. I hit a point where it was about when I was 13 when I really realized that wasn't going to happen. And I will say I was good. I was a very good basketball player, and I played on a team. We were very good in Washington State, our little corner of the United States, and we qualified for a national tournament in Memphis, Tennessee, and we went the summer. Uh, I think it was right before I turned 13, um, and 81 teams from around the country. And I saw these other boys from around the United States, and I realized I wasn't as good as I thought it was right there. So these big boys from the South and the East Coast and things like that. So that was when, I mean, I still loved basketball, still did all that. Then I started getting into like video games, computers, and I thought at one point I wanted to be a computer programmer. Um, I was a bit much for me. I dabbled in some classes in high school, realized it wasn't really for me. And then I was thinking physical therapist actually to go to school for that, and some sports medicine. Um, and then Yeah, I fell into my Pepsi job, got kind of stuck in a rut, and I was like, I need to do something else. And I went back to school to become a teacher.
Very cool. And I actually did live in the Pacific Northwest for a short time. I lived in just north of Seattle for about 8 months,
Okay,
6 months actually.
okay. Yeah, I'm in the southeastern part. I'm in the dry part of the state. It's not all wet and green
Ah,
and rainy there. We're in the deserty part of Washington over here.
gotcha.
Yeah, I did the teacher thing though. I got that to share with you. I taught middle school as well for about 6 years before everything happened with the pandemic, and I decided that my health was more important than all the crazy stress because I also have MS. But I taught seventh through 12th and a little bit of college, but mostly seventh and eighth. So that middle school career, that is something else, my friend.
You have to be the
I
right kind of
couldn't.
person.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Like they'd be, testing my gangster, and I'd get in trouble. Like, you can't call them fuck faces, and I'd be like, well, they are. I was much better suited for the army.
There are some creative ways to get around that. There's a lot of I would like for you to rethink the decision that you're making right now. Do you really think that's the most conducive way to speak to
No,
someone
no,
else?
I'm from Chicago. Okay, there's no, it's 0 to you're about to get shot,
Hmm.
like that.
Yep, New York, pretty much the same.
I'm from Michigan.
That
I'm from over here and now I live over here and it just is what it is.
All right, Evie, stay away from the schools. I
Yes.
heard the.
Look, I try to, but if I get a call, you need to come get your kid, and I'm just like, I love my children.
Maybe you can have
It's
them.
your turn to have. Well, okay, so you said you ended up doing a whole career reroute. You ended up teaching instead of doing the stuff that you were doing, like working with Pepsi there. But you said you didn't want to write books until you were older. So can you tell us about when your author career kind of began?
Yeah, so I did. This is really dumb. I think that I allowed myself to let this prevent me from doing it. So I'm going to go to. I think it's beginning middle school. I started writing like little stories. I didn't know how to write. I didn't feel like I knew how to write dialogue. I didn't know how to format it correctly. I didn't know how the quotation marks were intimidating. So I let that stop me from writing in middle school. Then my junior year of high school, I had an English teacher. We were writing something. It was an analysis of something. And the next day after I turned it in, he goes, "Hey, I want to read an exemplar here." He started reading a paper to the class, and I realized it was my paper, and I was like, "Holy crap, is he reading my stuff?" And he did that twice for me, actually. And he was the first person to actually tell me, like, "You're pretty good at writing." And I actually found it after I self-published this book. I actually found him on Facebook, and I connected with him, and I told him because he kind of went off the grid a little bit. He's not teaching anymore. He lives kind of in the wood, like he's out in the woods, like more naturey.
He's
And I
living my
told him,
dream.
so yeah, I shared that story with him, and I said, I credit you for giving me some confidence in tackling this right here. So when I started teaching, I love this story. I'd like to share it. It was my first year teaching, height of the Hunger Games. We were reading it in my class, and it's 7:30 in the morning, first period. This girl, I remember her name, Lord S. She comes in, a little groggy. School's not her thing, and she sits in the front row, and she looks at me and she goes, "Mr. Spaur, I just want to let you know the only reason I'm at school today is I want to know what happens next in this book." And I thought, wow, the power of this book drug her out of bed, got her to school on time. And I thought, what if I could do that for a kid someday? And so that's when I really started trying to read more and try to dive into how can I write stories.
I love that because so many kids in school think like, oh, I have to read something. It's going to be the absolute worst because of the content that we have to teach and the way that we're told to teach it. But realistically, when you can ignite a student's passion in something, it's because you made a connection with that student, not just with the material, but you as an educator as well. And the better the book, the easier it is to make that connection. Like a lot of kids think it's going to be, oh, I have to cite my evidence for every single thing I think of about this book, or I have to think about metaphors, you know. But it's not. It's not like that all the time. Sometimes we read just because we love it.
Yeah, dude, I hated that part where they're just like, why were the curtains blue? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's the dude's favorite color, or maybe that just went with the aesthetic. Like,
I
don't, why are you reading into things?
I was that kid in middle school. I needed a guy like you to kind of set me straight.
Yeah, and what's funny is teachers who teach English, English teachers are actually, we kill reading for kids. We're so bad, so bad. And I try to remember that, and I try to make it so it's not that way for them.
Yeah. So,
But the problem is that there's so much we have to do, really. I mean, and you just remind kids like sometimes we read just because it's a good book. That's all you
Yes.
should do. Some things you have to read deeper. Some things are surface level.
yeah. So, and obviously, we're readers, and you've become a successful writer. What other hobbies do you have?
Oh man, I used I don't as much anymore. I used to love working out all the time, like lifting weights. I would go to the gym. I don't go to the gym much anymore. I did a little bit over the summer, but I do enjoy lifting and being active that way. I enjoy tennis. I haven't played in a while, but I was a pretty good tennis player. I like that.
Mm,
Although everybody's on the pickleball rage here, I haven't tried that, but everybody's saying we need to give it a shot.
yeah.
Uh, I love video games. I love them so much. Me and Edie talk about it. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda. I think that's why we connected because we were
yep,
both using Legend of Zelda in our stuff.
yep, yeah.
Yeah. My
Um,
father. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Brian.
Oh no, I was just gonna say my father was into the pickleball thing for a while, and now he's just a golfer.
Yeah, that's something I've never gotten into. It's expensive,
Yeah.
It
too
is.
expensive for me.
It's probably the only thing I could have played safely because sports wise, I didn't play for the safety of other people. I'm one of those people. We called it knockout or lightning at our school where you're trying to, shoot the basket before the other kid. You know how your tennis shoe has like that little lip at the end, the grippy spot? Well, I bent over to pick up the ball, fell, and broke my own nose on the
Oh.
basketball court. That's how sporty I am. So kudos to you,
Yeah.
man.
So, now, we as writers, we sometimes put little bits and pieces of ourselves in our characters. Do you find you do that? Say like your characters may have the same interests as you do.
Yeah, so something I do have that, and actually, I think because Evie pre-ordered the second book, I know I sent a little envelope of some things, but there's not just about me, but about you connect with different parts of your life. So something Brock, the main character of the Ashen Yard, he's actually has a lot of qualities that I wish I had. Yep, there you go, right there. He has. I tried to make him stronger and more confident in ways that I feel like I wish I was. So I dabbling with that because when you create characters, and this is what I always try to tell kids, you mirror things. Like you can mirror yourself, you can mirror someone that you look up to, you can mirror someone that you know, things like that, or take pieces of them and patchwork this person together. So yes, with characters, Brock has a lot of qualities I wish I had, and when I was writing him, but also not just with characters, but in the second book, there is actually a real life story that happened with between my brothers when I was younger, and it has to do with they were twins and they created their own language actually, and they called a spider a bayous for
Hmm.
whatever reason, and they were trying to tell my grandpa to go outside to look at the bayous. And my grandpa had no idea what they were talking about. He went out there and they're pointing at the ground. It was in the grass, and he's like, grass, dirt, rock, fence. He's trying everything, and he had no idea what a bayous was. And I was 2.5 years older than them, and I don't remember this, but I guess I could translate for the adults. They developed their own language, and I could help them translate what they were saying. So that is included in there's some real life stories that I incorporated in my writing.
Yeah, that was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and I like that you're talking about like how your characters have more confidence in things that you have as well, because I think a lot of people think, oh, sporty person automatically has confidence, right? Like automatically is like the guy's guy or whatever. And that's not the case. Every person has their fallacies, you know, and that's we aren't all as built up as we appear to be either. That's one thing we've learned a lot about like social media and our presence out here as authors. I like that you're speaking about that too. Especially when you're talking YA and teen literature, that's a huge thing.
Yes, that they are figuring themselves out and they're questioning everything about themselves at that time.
Well, I also like. Sorry, Sam. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's all good. I just said, and the hormones too.
Well, but one of the things I really liked about Brock was the fact that he was put in positions that he didn't necessarily want to be in, because him as a person was very soft spoken. He was very pacifistic. You know, like he did not want to be in the fighting that's going on in the yard. He's just like, hey, I just want to take care of my mom and draw. You know, that was his thing. But because of the way that the society and the prison is set up, like he has to be a badass at times. You know, and that's like kind of how it is in the schoolyard too. You know, if you don't stand up to the bullies, you're going to continue to be bullied, even if you just want to sit there and you know, nerd out or something.
Yes, and thinking about that, I like to put characters in. If you gray is a theme in my book, that color right there, I like to put them in these questionable situations, and some of it is me playing with them, really, because that's what you're doing as you're writing. You're playing with characters, and I'm sure you've all experienced it, and it's hard to explain, but it's like your characters talk to you and you're talking back to them, and you're like, we're gonna give this a shot and see what happens, and you let it play out.
Yes, the characters tend to take over, and sometimes they have more to say than others.
For sure. And I have an example of this. In this current book I'm writing, it was the second time the character was going to interact with his mom. His mom's very different than the mom in the Ashen Yard. She despises her son, and I knew it wasn't going to go well. He walks back in, and as it was playing out, I thought, ooh, my main character, Nix, he's going to stand up to her. And the mom told me she did not like that. And then it helped evolve that scene as I was going, and she let him know. So it's pretty fun. It's fun to just play with that stuff.
So outside of writing, right, do you have, I'm actually going to reword this, because do you have anything you're truly like passionate about? This could be a cause, a project, or some community service, charity, whatever.
I anything big charity wise doesn't really go outside of my community. So, and I'll give you context to that. So in the school that I teach is almost 100% free and reduced lunch. So that means low socioeconomic. It is about 96% Hispanic. And so a lot of those kids come with not some of the same opportunities as people of different ethnicities, And so I like to keep everything. So, like adopting families within the community during the holiday time, or helping donate coats during the cold season, things like that. So, I know that there's bad things going on. I mean, you look at the news. I look at California; it's terrible. But I mostly try to keep my money in the local community here.
You've also recently been mentoring young authors and writers as well. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I forget. Did I email you the local news did a story on me? Did I email you the link?
No, you did not.
I-
Otherwise, that would have been included in the Friday Night Rights promo about you.
Okay, I'll have to send it to you. It was really cool. So, I ended up doing a career fair at another local school here, and while I was there, one of the news stations was actually set up next to me, and I started talking to the anchor, and he saw because I had posters of my books and them set out and stuff. So he's asking me about them, and he's like, I'm gonna run a story, but it has to get approved. But we like to do like local spotlights for people, and I said, great. And so it ended up happening. And those two students that I've been mentoring or were actually in the interview. They did a great job, by the way. They're amazing. Um, so I get to meet with them 4 days a week. Such a short amount of time. I only get 30 minutes with them. It's a very short period. But we just meet and we are kind of our own little mini writers group at my school. And we talk about our stories. We talk about brainstorming, sharing, asking questions, things like that. And both of them, they're just great young kids and with aspirations to be writers someday.
You're mentoring the next generation of authors. Like, that is just so freaking cool.
That is super
Yes.
cool. Especially because so much of what kids care about gets squished when they're in school. And like if you can find a way to not only support their dreams but also teach them something like that with such a strong real world connection, that information is going to stay there. That's going to make a lasting impact. That is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I love doing it. It's seeing kids light up either about a book or something that they're producing. Like it's the best feeling.
Look, you might not be an award-winning author yet, but no offense to my award-winning authors here, but I mean, he's kind of putting y'all to shame. Like, you're like, look at what I did, and he's like, look at what they're doing.
Hey,
Actually,
we're all winners here. I guess that's what you're trying to say.
one of the girls, she I met with her last year and she wanted to submit for a poetry contest. And so she was meeting with me. I didn't have time to individually work with her. So she would just stop by and she wanted me to look at her poem and she submitted it and she got it in. I think I did a TikTok on it. I thought I did. She's holding the book, but it has, and she showed me her poem is also in it as well. So she's already a published author at 13.
What an overachiever. Good for her.
That is so cool. Sorry, I'm just all like, wow, I'm just so proud. And I don't even know these people, but I'm just so proud.
Right? I'm so happy for him. Like, this is awesome.
All right, so maybe shifting just a little bit back to you from the other amazing things that you do from other people, but we want to get to know a little bit about your favorite things as adult Jeff Spaur. So do you have like favorite foods or favorite candies or seasons or movies or shows or anything like that that we can talk about?
Oh man, I have since I was a kid. I could eat a cheeseburger for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I am a cheeseburger fiend. I love them so much.
Right here.
But
I'll join
which I think maybe after this interview, I might go. Me and my son, we might go get some. So yes. So that has always been as far as food. Like I'll take that meal right there. Candy, anything caramel, like Twixes. I'm huge on Twix. I caramel stuff though.
Mm.
I love uh, movies. Man, I like a lot of different types of movies. I'm trying to think of something that maybe watch. Well, this has nothing to do with the movie, but with my teenage son, he just started having me watch Squid Game with him. So I don't know if you have watched that, but we finished the first season, started the second. It's not 100% my cup of tea. I think actually first season super surprised me
Mm.
because I knew the premise of it, and it was way more than just in my mind what had built it up to be. It actually had some really good, I thought, some good qualities to it. So um, I like movies anywhere from like the original Rocky movies to I love a movie that makes you think, like Inception. If you watch that, I love that movie. Just the I thought that was an incredible story right there. And I love Star Wars. I like sci-fi.
Oh.
I'm just anything. I do enjoy anime. My son and I we watch a lot of anime.
What's your favorite one?
Okay, my favorite all time, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes,
100%. Okay.
that was a good one.
Here's there's so many great anime out there, but this is what I loved about that show was it wasn't necessarily about a romance. It was about brotherly love and this wanting to get your family as much as your family back together. And oh God, I loved it. Attack on Titan, though, Levi Ackerman is my most favorite character. He's my most favorite character of any story of anything, books, shows, movies. And I love that guy.
I love Attack on Titan too. But I really my ultimate favorite comfort anime is Black Clover.
It's on my list. I haven't gotten to
It's
it. I have
so
a
good.
list. Okay. Is
See,
that
The
one
books,
with a ton of episodes? Is there a ton of episodes on that, or is it manageable?
it's not like One Piece.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's like 20 or so episodes for an arc, and I think there's like 5 arcs.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I maybe off by like 5 or so, but it's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
is, it, is Attack on Titan the one with the big giants?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So I like the premise of that show, but as a horror author, not a lot of things bother me, but the giants' teeth, their mouths bother me. They just gross me out, so I can't watch it, even though I like the premise.
It's supposed to be unsettling because it's that uncanny valley.
I'm not as schooled in anime as everybody else is. You know, I watched Voltron growing up. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge of anime. But
I'm assuming He-Man as well, right? You watch He-Man
yes, I
Oh,
did.
I loved He-Man as a kid. Oh my gosh, I did.
and Speed Racer. Speed Racer was good. I grew up with like the cartoon version of Spider-Man and Batman and all those things when I was a kid.
Ah,
Not as much anime, but I did like Sailor Moon, even though she was a ditz, you know.
so I have two questions. One is a follow up. Um, what is your favorite cheeseburger joint?
Oh, okay, that's hard. So, because we don't have one, anytime we visit family in California, I've got to go to In-N-Out Burger. If
Hmm.
yes,
You see,
okay,
No, I knew
it's
you were gonna say that, and I was already like, no.
see,
growing up though, like getting a meal out was Burger King. Growing up, I
uh,
grew up on that. That's it's not my favorite. I have to say my favorite. It's actually a local place here called Lulu's, and they get all their ingredients from local farmers and stuff. So it's not anything anybody's going to know about, but
that's cool
I
though.
love that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, when I lived in Seattle, we had Jack in the Box. We didn't have those in New York, so it was just like this. It was this glorious, magical place. Even though it was just like a fast food joint. So,
Yeah.
and same thing with In and Out. You know, when I visited my father in Arizona, they had an In and Out, and I had to go there just, just because, just to say I had it. So,
So there is we've never actually gone. It's right. I think it's near the border of Northern California and
mm,
Oregon. And my wife's stepmom and her brother, it's called Yaks on the Five, say that it has the best burger. And we still, every time we go by, I feel like it's closed.
huh,
So we've always missed it. So I wanted to try that.
nice. Yeah, it's
Any other question, Brian?
yeah, no, I just because I'm a burger fan just like you, so I just had to know. Um,
I don't discriminate though. Like I'll eat. Well, since kids though, McDonald's has been big because of Happy Meals.
oh yeah,
I don't. It's hard to mess up a burger.
true. Yes. We're all readers, as I'm sure you are too. What was your most recent 5-star book that you read?
Oh, I should have brought. Oh, it's in the other room. It is called "Stay Dead." It's by April Henry. So I actually got to meet her last year, and she writes young adult. She's actually publishing books 29 and 30 here soon of her career, and this is what I love about her. I've read a few of her books now. The amount of research she does for survival is insane. She talked about taking a survival class where her and people were kidnapped. They were blindfolded, duct taped. They were taken in a van, swirled around. And the guy said, "Hey, we're going to go on a smoke break. You got 15 minutes. And if you're still here, you'll be sorry." They had to figure out how to get out of the duct tape. They had to get from point A to point B, which was like 4 miles. And the thing was, is they didn't know what their kidnappers looked like, but they knew what they all looked like, and so they had to find routes to figure out how. So if you got caught, you lost. She ended up not getting caught, but she said it was the most stressful, like anxious thing that she has ever done, trying to escape this. So she does things like that to then create that suspense in her thrillers that she writes.
Sounds like steer training.
Is that
Yeah,
did
it's
you?
a survival escape something evade, which is basically like that hardcore how to survive torture and stuff.
She she shared this story. It made me laugh. She lives in Portland, Oregon, and there's a really nice park by where she lives, and she wanted to know like if her character had handcuffs on her, like even if it was in the front, what it was like to run away with handcuffs on. And so she would have the handcuffs on, and she's running in this local park. She goes, "It's really hard to explain to people that you're doing research for writing when they see a woman in handcuffs running through through trees." But that's
It's
the
like
things that she does.
it reminds me of
I feel like sorry, Brian, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it's like that scene in the Naked Gun where Frank Drebin says he shot a bunch of actors. Like that was a performance of Shakespeare in the Park, you moron.
Well,
Hey,
I was
this
gonna say we all have like all of us as authors, we end up on a list somewhere because of what we Google, and I feel like she was just like, "Hold my beer." I'm gonna I'm gonna be on every list.
the closest I've ever come to anything like that is watching Survivor from the comfort of my living room because I know that if I went to go do anything like that, I would just die. I was like, I can't. I'm such a wimp and also have MS. So like,
Mm,
it's not happening.
yeah, I'm just a wimp, so better them than me. But
All
yes,
right. So for everyone down or in the chat, we are doing a giveaway for both books, The Ashen Yard and The Ashen Cleanse. It's going to be a signed copy. So if you would like to enter the giveaway, go ahead and put a gun in the chat. We don't have to censor ourselves this time. So, yep, put the little pew pews,
bang bang.
and I will put you on the giveaway wheel.
And thank you all for joining us on our first edition of Friday Night Writes on Discord.
Yeah, I know it's different. I think it's going pretty well. We've had some lovely conversation with Jeff so far, and if you are just joining us, this will go on YouTube as usual afterwards, so you can pick up on the story. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Evie is doing the spinny wheel, so make sure you're dropping those in there. And as always, we will reward you for sticking around with more opportunities, so you get an entry every time we give you that chance, not just here. Now, Evie's doing the wheel, so I'm going to go ahead and ask her next question for her. I'm going to switch just because she's busy. But, so Jeff, you said you write YA, it's dystopian, correct? Is that the only genre you plan to write in? Do you plan to write in more?
Excuse me. Right now I'm sticking, and I feel comfortable right there. That's where I'm living. But in this next series of books, I'm trying to get it's going to get a little more fantasy in there, but it has that dystopian feel. Because of my knowledge of sports, I feel like at some point I can write a YA sport, like in different sports. But I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check your books out, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So,
it's been suggested that I could branch out into YA sports as well.
Okay, yeah, no, give it a shot. You just can't write all that explicit stuff in there, but
Exactly.
keep those solid stories. Yeah. So, as of right now, yes, that's my comfort zone. Staying in that dystopian-ish sort of.
You say you want to stay in a dystopian area, but you're kind of starting to add more elements of fantasy. Does that take it to more of like a dystopian speculative fiction then, where it's like a little bit out of what you would see on the day-to-day, but still has those themes, kind of like maybe the Hunger Games with the like advanced tech? Or
Yes, yeah, that's exactly where this next series is going.
I love dystopian fiction. Grew up on it, man.
It's good. I as soon as my brother, talked about the Hunger Games, and then I just went in down the rabbit hole of all these other authors, and that was a lot of, and that's what the kids were reading at the time too. So got sucked into that and loved it.
So you've talked before about certain pieces of your works were inspired by real life events. But where did you get like the overall idea? Like what made you actually like, man, that's it. That's the idea for this book.
So I tell this story, I always get like, they look at me like, oh, the intrusive thoughts sort of thing. So my inciting event that I was trying to dabble in writing a few things, and my wife and I, our first son was not quite, I think it was the holidays before he was born. He was born in March. And so she's pregnant, and we were driving home from the mall after doing some holiday shopping. We were going over the overpass to get on the freeway, and this guy was just walking along the side with a backpack. And I thought, what if there was a city where my wife could just run over this guy and kill him and nothing would happen? Like he'd be cool, or she'd be cool. And so initially I was like, okay, I'm going to create this city where, and this is where the gray stuff comes from, where they had gray areas where crime marked no punishment. And so that was my inciting thought for how to start this story. But then it eventually evolved from being a city to basically a societal prison that I made. That was more like an internment camp sort of style right there. But that was the inciting incident. I thought, man, what if my wife ran him over, killed him, and nothing happened to her?
What is it, like the Purge, where like you and you can do anything you want in 24 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's funny where story inspiration comes from, though, isn't it? Because like it can just be like, here, all of a sudden, Brian with his spicy stories, he was just sitting at a diner in Florida. He's like, I know what I want to write about. I wrote Stages of Grief because I was staring at a Halloween decoration on my wall, and I went, ooh, ghost, got it.
I had a spicy dream about Van Helsing, and Unbalanced was made. So we all have something.
comes from the strangest places, and you create your these characters, out of thin air sometimes.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So when young adults hear me say that story, they're like, "Is there something wrong with Mr. Spaur here?"
Right. So, which one would you say is your favorite character, and conversely, which is your least favorite, and why?
And are you talking about in my stories or in just in general?
No, your stories. Sorry.
Okay. So initially, I loved because it's written first person. I loved thinking through Brock's eyes. So he had turned into my favorite character. But as I continued writing the story, Vincent actually turned into my favorite character, and he was so popular with um, the students because I have a great audience I can test my story out with because I've got a bunch of young readers. There was a girl, she talked about I hadn't started writing the second book yet. I read the first one to it was a trial with another teacher's class. She was nice enough to let me do it, and Vincent quickly became very popular amongst the students, and I thought, ooh. So that's why in the second book, of the 40, it's like 47 chapters. I think Vincent has about 15, 16 in his voice because he was so popular. And there was a girl who told me, she goes, I don't care what happens to any other character. You better not kill Vincent. That's what she told me. So he turned into my favorite, and initially it was
Nice,
Brock as I was doing the protagonist.
nice. I think we've all been there where we have a favorite character, but sometimes it's we see it coming like, no, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Ah.
And did you ask for least? Oh, you asked for least favorite as well, Brian.
Yes.
Oh, I think okay. Um, I and it's not because I don't like her. It's because I don't think I did it well. The love interest Lacey, as I wrote both stories, one of the feedbacks I got from one of the agents was she didn't think that I capitalized well enough on this sort of relationship thing, and I see that now as I look at it, and so I could have done so much better with that, and so she kind of fell flat a little, in my opinion. There others say no, but to me, yeah.
So you wrote a duology, and you're also in the process of writing another series. Is that your preferred, mode of writing, or do you have standalones that you're going to be planning as well?
I I was going to try to write a standalone. Right now, the stories I come up with as they've developed, they just have become too big for just one book. And that's the kind of things I like. I mean, I like watching, the Star Wars trilogy where you can't just capture it all in a single film. I like things like that. So I think that's kind of gone in that direction. I do have a couple ideas of some standalones. One I really, really wanted to try. I was trying to force myself to write it, and I stopped because it was too forced, and thus I went to this where I was a little more comfortable. Um, but eventually, it's it's about a dating app that this guy is called roughly was Project Reset. So basically, when you sign up on the app, you can get together with someone and you have 1 year to decide whether you want to reset or not. And you can go back in time. But what happens is the main character, he gets um, stuck in a loop. He doesn't know that, but he eventually figures it out. But the only thing that stays that comes back with him when he resets every single time. And I'm getting this inspiration. If you've seen the movie Memento, I don't know if you've seen that movie or not. It's a great movie.
That is a great movie. It's yeah.
So at the end of every reset, he gets a tattoo. And he's trying these tattoos, he's trying to use it because actually he really finds out that he regrets that he actually wants to be back with the first person that he was actually with, but he's stuck in this and so he's trying to use these tattoos that tell a story of how he can find her. So that would be a standout. That's my standout. I was trying to do it, and I'm right now. I'm not mentally ready to write that story yet.
That sounds really interesting, though. Yeah, 'cause I think I
And
mean,
then
it's something we can all relate to. I think in some respect, we all have this thing like, I wish I could go back to this point and redo that.
yeah, and I like the idea. And anybody I've kind of shared a little bit about that, they said that sounds really interesting. So now I feel pressure that if I do it, I want to do it well. And I was trying to force it, and I didn't feel like I was doing justice to it, so I abandoned it at this point in time.
Well, sometimes you
Man,
try to sit down to write a book too, and then your characters just completely stop talking to you. You know, your situations in life change. So they get written when they feel like they want to exist. That's the thing. We have to be ready, and the stories, the characters have to be ready to cooperate.
but you have someone in the comments that are saying, "I'm here for this story whenever you write it." So
Okay.
you got
Yeah,
people cheering you
same
on.
here.
All right. Well, I appreciate that support, and eventually, my plan is to make it happen.
All right,
All
so
right.
we are going to offer you guys another chance to participate in the giveaway. We can say giveaway now instead of rehoming or whatever we had
Or
to say on
schmiv.
TikTok. So that's a nice boon. But we are going to be giving away, or Jeff is going to be giving away, 2 signed books tonight, book 1 and book 2, The Ashen Yard. And what was the sequel's name again?
The Ashen Cleanse.
Cleanse. Yeah, The Ashen
Yes.
Cleanse. So if you want to be a part of that giveaway, drop those guns in the comments. That is how you enter. And just as always, we will be rewarding you for sticking around. So make sure you do it, even if you already have, because we want eyes on Jeff. If you have not yet, and you know someone who would like to be a part of this experience, our first Discord live where we get to interview author Jeff Spaur, tag them, send them this link, let them in so that they can get eyes on him as well. Okay? Evie is putting the names on the spinny wheel. And while she's doing that, we're going to continue with our interview. And I'm going to ask you this time, how do you handle the whole author life balance thing where you're a teacher and you're a parent and you're a writer and you're a spouse and all these things, right? How do you do that?
A lot of late nights. I don't require as much sleep as most people. I usually go to bed 11 o'clock, wake up at 5, ready to go for the next day. So I I get up and I make sure I get some form of exercise in the morning, and then get prepped and take care of work. Come home, maybe I'll have, like my youngest having basketball practice, taking care of all those things. And usually, because me being that night owl, when everybody's in bed, I'll just take the time to sit down. And sometimes it's hard because even though I don't, not necessarily tired, your brain is exhausted to really buckle down and think about what you're going to write.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of times I work a normal 9 to 5 job, and sometimes it's a little stressful, and you come home and you eat, and your brain is just done for the day. But
For
Yeah,
sure.
when I was writing the Ruin, I was teaching as well, and I know how stressful it can be to be needed every second of every day as well. Like Mr. Spar, over and over and over again, and then you get home and Dad is like in Dad mode, right? And you finally get to turn off what's going on in your brain, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna write the story. And then it goes because you're just so burnt out. I think I wrote
Yes.
the vast majority of my stories for like 3 or 3 or 4 years of writing between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m. And then when my son was born, in the rocking chair on my phone, right? Because that balance is so tricky, trying to find and carve out that time for yourself as a human being. So I props to you, man. That's not an easy thing to do, especially with mentoring added on top of that as well. Like, you're kind of a superhero.
You're making me blush.
Well, we've talked a little bit about the teaching and the mentoring part. Is it safe to say that maybe that's the part about writing that you enjoy the most, or is it something else?
Yes, I do. I like the excitement. So here's another example. When I did the high school event, I did a giveaway, and I didn't have the inventory at the time. It was still in the mail, so I had to come back. And one of the high school girls, I believe she's a junior, she stayed and talked to me after it was all done for like 30 minutes. She goes, I've been writing poetry, and how did you get published? And she had all kinds of questions. So I took the time to talk to her. And then she ended up being one of the three winners of the giveaway. It just happened to be that way. I wasn't the one who actually did it. It was one of the staff there. And so I went and I delivered it to her. And the look on her face, she at first she saw me, she was like, "Oh, you're back." And I go, "Yeah, I have something for you." And I showed her the book. She goes, "These are mine?" And I go, "Yeah." She talked to me for like another couple minutes, but she had a smile basically on her face the whole time because of just how excited she was for that, right? And I can't. There's not many better feelings than that when they're that excited about books.
Yeah, I understand that. That is a great thing. So, but I have to ask you the other side of the coin now. What is your least favorite part about writing?
The least favorite part, when I was doing this to myself all this last week, feeling like I have to get this done. And being an indie author as of right now, I would love to branch beyond and be in the traditional, have an agent who takes care of a lot of things for me. But even though I have my own timeline, I still put that pressure on me. Like sometimes I'm like, I sat on that for too long. I need to get my butt going here. Let's go. And that part right there, and that's on me too. But I do that to myself, and that's probably my least favorite part of this whole. And you know what? Honestly, being an indie author, I hate promoting. I hate
Oh,
promoting myself
yes.
so much. Oh my god, I don't want to.
Marketing's like the
Yes.
number one answer for
Yes.
release
Oh
favorite.
god.
Well,
It's
especially now that it's going to become trickier because the platforms are going to be changing. You have to refine the audience that you've been working for years to build. There's so much burnout with
Yeah.
all of that. Like, we're all just over here like, ah.
I know.
Yeah, I
And
think.
we're just swimming in a sea of authors out there who are trying to do the same thing, and we all want all of us to have success, and it just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry, I think I interrupted you, Brian.
Oh no, that's okay. No, I was just gonna say you pinpointed my two least favorite parts of writing. Of all the great things about it, it's the marketing and the 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 self-imposed deadlines. And sometimes I have to remind myself, and other people have to remind me that it's okay if it's not done now. It'll get done when it's ready.
Yes. Well, and I sit there and I think when I was at a conference in Seattle, they had some indie author people, even though they had agents and stuff there, but they had a panel and they were talking. And this lady, she's probably, I don't know, 8 years younger than me, and I don't know, maybe she didn't have another job or kids or whatever, but she was pumping out 5 to 6 books a year, and she's very successful. I'm like, how the hell did you do that? It took me 4 years to get my first draft done on my first book, 10 years to figure out that I 10 to 12 years to like actually get it into like indie publishing or whatever, man. And she's just pumping those things out and very successful. And I thought, wow, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. It took me 6 years to write The Ruin by the time everything was all published because, well, for one thing, being a mom and being a teacher is mentally and physically draining, especially with a compromised immune system. I was always sick. But for another thing, like the whole getting in your own way thing, too, like, oh, I'm too tired, or oh, nobody's going to read this, or oh, what's the point, and you just keep setting it down. I am unfortunately someone who's extremely motivated by pressure. So I ended up rewriting a 135,000 word book in 2 months from third person present to first person present. And that's how I got it done. But as far as like those deadlines and whether or not I enjoy them, no.
Yeah,
They can be
deadlines are
good
no
and bad.
fun.
Sorry, I still have a schedule too. I'm our editor.
She's edited
I know
my stories
they're
too.
no fun, but they can be helpful. It depends on the situation,
Yeah, I guess
So,
it all depends.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry,
No.
Brian.
I was just gonna say
No,
it all
I was
depends.
gonna keep it going.
No, you're good. No, go ahead.
She's telling you to go.
Oh,
Brian.
okay.
You should
No,
go.
I was yeah, everybody's different. Some people thrive on pressure, and other people kind of it does the opposite. It's about what works for you. That's all.
I wanted you to say because I was just gonna ask the next question. I didn't want to, just talk over you. I'm sorry. All right. So Jeff, we all have our own way of writing. Are you a plotter, a pantser, a plantser, or a quilter?
I have not heard quilter. What is a quilter? I've heard
A
the other
quilter
ones.
is someone who will like write the middle. They'll write like chapter 7, then they'll jump to chapter 14, and then they just stitch it together.
Definitely not that. I am more of a pantser than anything, although I'm trying a little bit more to plan a little bit more. So this next series is a little more planting in there. But yeah, I like to be able to play around and let my characters explore a little bit, and so I try not to keep them confined in a box. But I also that gets me into trouble as well sometimes.
Now you said you don't sleep as much as everyone else, so I'm assuming that with your writing happening at night, that things can be a little hectic sometimes trying to get settled, like we had talked about. But do you have any like writing routines that help you actually get through the process?
I don't. I take when I met April Henry, that other author I was telling you about, she's like, sit down and write. Just sit down and write. And that's what I do. I know a lot of. I had a walking treadmill with the desk. I no longer have that. I wrote most of the Ashen Cleanse on that. I would get up actually in the mornings and I'd like walk and type. And then I also do it in the evening as well. That's kind of fun, but it broke and I kind of miss it because I liked that. Because I'm fidgeting right now. I'm a mover, so
Yeah.
me just like moving and typing is good. And if I don't, and it's okay, I've been a rocker, like rocking chairs. I'll sit in a rocking chair. I have this little lap um, tray thing for my um, laptop, and I'll be like rocking. I've got that movement while I'm typing. So no routines, but I incorporate movement that helps my brain keep going. Yep, just like that.
You mentioned you were fidgeting, and I saw Sam with her squishy, and it made me remember. Yeah, oh yeah, I got the same color.
I popped this one while we were on the live.
Oh
It's mushy
no!
gushy.
Is it gushing out?
A little bit, yeah. It's
Oh.
like sticky glue stuff, so I had to switch.
Oh no!
But yeah, the fidgeting thing is so real, especially when I'm stressed. I fidget a lot, so if I'm like stuck on something, I'll kind of while I'm writing. But like the rocking chair definitely helped with when I was, trying to write when I was exhausted when my little one was very young. And then I think just keeping all parts of your body engaged in the writing process is a fascinating way to experience it. So
You
My
mentioned
legs bouncing. So I'm not doing things with my hands. My legs bouncing.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, you mentioned indie publishing. Have did when you were thinking about writing, or did you consider trad publishing, or why and how did you choose indie over trad?
I did. It's embarrassing how many um, agents I tried to query. It was over 300. But what with this particular series of books that made me um, just give in and go, I'm done with that. I'm just going to indie publish this. Was when I did go to Seattle and I actually sat in front of 8 different agents, and all of them wanted to see a part of the story. And I got back. I had one. She was like, "I love your story. I'm just sorry. I don't." She told me, "I don't think I can do it justice in representing you." And I was like, "Oh, just please, why you like it? Why not?" And then another one who I'd actually met, that was my second time meeting her. She took a look at it and she sent me an email and she gave me all the things I did well and the things that needed improvement. And I copied and pasted that information. It was at the top of my brainstorming page for this next series that I'm writing. And her words meant the world to me. And I actually met her again via Zoom in November. And she looked at the first 10 pages of this story here. She's like, "When you're done, I'm interested in looking at it." And I was like, "Oh." So I'm trying to get it done, get it off to her. Um, because she loves the dystopian, that whole thing right there. So basically, I failed to get into the traditional publishing uh, industry. I tried, and I know and I understand it's not necessarily how good your story is. There's all kinds of factors to it, but I have found that a connection with someone, seeing them face to face. So I have met Katie Reed now 3 times. And I told her about that email. I was like, "I have this email. You probably don't remember writing it because you're so busy. But here's some of the things you said. And I have it on my brain." So I said, "I can't thank you enough for that." I'm trying to make that connection with her because, that branching out that community and stuff, as opposed to just a blind email query, gets you a little further into the door.
you said it was almost embarrassing how many people you queried, and honestly, I don't think that's embarrassing at all. I personally chose to go indie because I have control issues, and I wanted to control every aspect of my story from the way it was, structured to covers and stuff. But I know those who are seeking trad publishing, they do go through astounding numbers of queries and rejection letters. One of our authors that we recently featured, Clarence Carter, has an entire book called The Rejected Ones of all of his short stories, and he just marketed with his rejection letters like surrounding his books. It's all part of that process, and it can be grueling. It can absolutely tear you down. But you're right, it really doesn't have anything to do with the quality of your story most of the time.
Yep. The sales pitch.
Yeah, I mean, they want to make money too. If they don't think that they can do it immediately, that's an issue for them too. So
Yeah, and sometimes it's all about trying to find a square peg for a square hole, or if it's a round peg or something else. It doesn't matter how good it is, unfortunately.
Oh, I don't know how to type. S.A. Bird said she didn't query at all. Her feelings couldn't handle it. And same. Same.
Yeah, you have to get used to a lot of rejection.
Yeah.
I sent two just because I wanted to experience the process and know what it was like. But I also the rejection sensitive dysphoria part of having ADHD was like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't send any because I knew after like the second one, I would just like burn my laptop. I just set it on fire and be like, I'm done.
Yeah, I think the first time I sent as many as I could find, and the second time with Eddie the Legend, I tried a few, and then I mean I basically knew deep down I wanted to indie publish it, but it was just a matter of just shoot my shot and see what happens. And after a few, it was just like, I don't want to go through 10,000 rejections.
All right, so Jeff, question. I know you said you're working on this new series. Are you like a normal person and you write one book at a time, or are you like me who has like 49 works in progress?
My brain can only handle one. I do the same thing with video games. I can't play multiple video games. I do the same
Mm.
thing with books. I can't read. I mean, yes, I can handle two books. Anything more than that, I am a single story person.
And that's completely fair. Everyone knows I'm a psycho, so.
I don't know. I could have like up to three at a time, but only if I'm like on a lot of deadlines.
Yeah.
Now, how do you deal with writer's block?
Okay, I'm going to share. I want to see what your thoughts are on this. And again, I'm bringing up this author I met last year. She said there is no such thing as writer's block. And I go, okay, let's hear this. She said it basically boils down to whether you want to write or not, whether you want to sit down and critically think through this problem you have, or if you just don't want to deal with it right then and there. And I thought it's kind of interesting because there have been times where I felt like I had writer's block and I sat down and I kind of forced myself through the first 20 minutes and then it started going.
Hmm.
So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I feel like I've experienced what writer's block is. It was just interesting to hear someone who's almost published 30 books now traditionally say there's no such thing.
Um,
Well, we have someone in the chat saying that you don't need to call her out. So I think we have at least one person who disagrees.
I
I agree to an extent. Like normally my writer's block is not stopping me because I write linearly, so I have to from beginning to end. I
yeah.
can't jump around. So if I'm having an issue, I can't move forward. It's because my brain has picked up something that is not right with what I've currently read. And until I figure that out, I can't. I need to fix it, then go forward. And until that happens, I'm there. So
Yeah, it sounds like that person is oversimplifying things. It's sometimes it's more than just sit. It's almost like as a kid, you're sitting at the dinner table until you finish your vegetables. It's not that easy.
Well, it depends. So, what I've seen as far as writing process goes is that usually if I get stuck and I can't write, I'm writing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Like, that's why Legacy of Lies doesn't exist yet, because Corinne's pain in the butt self did not want to speak to me, and so it wasn't time for me to write her story, so I wrote Wicked Little Rabbit instead. Or, like in The Ruin, it took me 3 days to say my characters walk down a hall because I was trying to say it with too much, like, pizzazz. And my husband said, just say they walk down the hall. So I don't want to do that. And he's like, why? You can't write the rest of the book until they walk down the hall, right? So they walked down the hall, you know? You can overcomplicate things. It could be the wrong time. You could be exhausted and need to spend your energies on something else, like healing or a personal matter at home or whatever it may be. But I think a lot more of it is just like, what headspace are you in? Like, are you stable enough to actually continue with whatever process you're working on too?
Mm.
Because there have been times when I am not stable, and I find that in my book. And you read it back later, and you're like, oh.
That is true. Yes, I had to take a break from my short story, which is going to be on in the anthology, this Friday Night Writes anthology, because I realized that it was kind of it's dealing with mental health issues, and I myself deal with mental health issues, as we all do, and it was kind of triggering me for a little while. So I had to kind of step back and then step back and step into it again. You talked earlier about, or we did, about inserting pieces of yourself into your books. Um, do you, by any chance, insert pieces of other people that you know? You know,
I think it's usually from other, probably characters in other stories that I've read, or more of that, or in a game, or in another book, or a show, or something. I take qualities of certain characters that I like and try to mold them into my own.
yeah, I hear you.
So what do you use like specifically with your writing? So I use Word, Google Docs to edit, and then I use Atticus to format and everything. What programs do you use?
And basically, strictly Word. At some point, I do want to pay for Scrivener. I've heard is a great program to use. As far as, I don't really use Google Docs, it's mostly Word. And as far as the formatting, it was all done through, because my books are just on Amazon, so you can just download the templates to get them how they need to be. So I really don't venture out any further than that.
And that's fair.
Yeah. I started using Atticus, and sometimes it's a pain in the butt.
I use Vellum because I have a Mac and I actually really like that program, but it is Mac specific, so it's a little bit tricky. Formatting in Word is a whole beast of a thing, so commend you for doing that. But do you use any like writers tracking software, like word count software or anything like that? Nice.
No, I mean, you're talking about how many words I have. I mean, Word does that. Is that what you're referring to?
So Word will do that, but then I also use a online program created by authors called WriteTrack that gives you like a certain number of words you have to write a day to hit the goal to complete the draft. Which is kind of like what NaNoWriMo had, but like not associated with Nano and all the skeevy stuff that went down.
I don't. I made a commitment after the Ashen Yard took so long. When I started the Ashen Cleanse, it was to write 2,500 words a week. So that was my minimum. So that was just, I would set my own personal goals. I didn't have anything tracking other than just my own, simple calculations for that. And this new book that I'm writing, I got to the point where I had over 10 or 11,000 words a week there for a little bit. I was on a roll. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I actually forgot to update my right track. You just reminded me. I have to go back in and do that.
You're welcome. Now, as far as we talked about like the balance and all the things that we have to do as authors, how much pressure we put on ourselves, that kind of thing. But one of the things we like to ask about is what do you do for your mental health, right? How do you keep yourself in a creative headspace and take care of you as teacher and dad and human being,
So I do the exercise in the morning, and this is something I've never heard anybody else do this before, but it's my way of spacing out. And again, because I love rocking and I've done this since I was a kid, I will sit in a rocking chair, I will put on my headphones, and I will listen to music, and I will rock, and I will stare at a space, and my mind just wanders. Like whatever I'm thinking, it could be about my story, it could be about something that happened that day, but I will sit and rock in that chair and listen to music while my mind just wanders.
It sounds like a type of meditation.
Yeah, actually, kind of, yeah. And I've done it since I was a kid. I don't know, I don't remember exactly when I started, but I just fell in love with it. I love music, and so that's what I would do.
I was going to say the same thing. I wish I could make my brain do that and like
I
stay
was
in one
thinking the
spot.
same thing. If it Teach us your ways, oh master, because my brain never shuts up, like ever.
Yeah, sometimes I do the same thing with music. It's like I need to get into that. It's almost like an athlete is trying to pump themselves up. I'll listen to music before I start writing just to get myself into that right headspace.
I also I will listen to the as long as it's giving me the feelings. I will listen to the same song on repeat
Mm.
throughout writing. So the song that I listen to the most when writing the Ashton Yard, the rough draft, it's actually a pop song called by Cruella called "Alive," and I don't know. Do you know that song? I
I've
listened
seen
to that.
Cruella live.
Have you?
Yes.
I listened to it for whatever reason, the beat and just the rhythm of that song. I could just type to it. I don't know. It was on in my earbuds over and over and over again.
Yeah, when we were young, I took my husband to a Cruella concert in Chicago. We went and saw them live, and the music was really, really good. The concert was kind of but the music is always really good, right? And it has that beat, it has that like that energizing balance to it. That's really nice. I personally can't listen to music when writing, but like I wish I could. I just get so like caught up in it, and then I can't, you know.
Yeah. So, we all have authors who have inspired us in some way, shape, or form. Which authors have inspired you?
So Brian Jacks for the Mossflower Red Wall series because that was when I first fell in. Like that was I remember that was the first time during silent reading in school. I looked forward to that time. I would just sit down and read. Um, Obviously, I talk about the dystopian authors like Suzanne Collins, Marie, Mary Lou, or Marie Lou. Sorry, not Mary Lou. That's one of my mentees. Um, Veronica Roth, James Dashner. It's a lot of the dystopian young adult authors. And then obviously seeing April Henry last year, even though we don't write in the same genre, but we write the same age group, seeing some of her tips and tricks and her process was fantastic as well.
So, do you have any advice for any unpublished authors, writers, that hope to eventually hit that published button?
Finish that story, right? Don't let your confidence falter. We will all do it. And don't safeguard your writing so close that hearing anything bad or negative about it is going to hurt you because that's just not healthy for you. You have to yes, it might sting, might hurt a little bit, but you can't let it devastate you to where you just got to do it. And to be fair, I thought the Ashen Yard as I wrote it, I loved it. I thought it was great. I read it now compared to the story that I'm writing, and I was like, man, I've gotten a lot better since writing. When I look at the two, and you just know that it might be your baby. Let it go, let it grow up, and move on to the next thing.
Well, once you write it and you put it out there, it's available for public consumption. And that's something we talk a lot about on Friday Night Writes is that not every book is for every reader, and it would be a very boring world if it was. But it's if you can't handle the reviews, you got to stay out of them. If you can handle the reviews and take criticism and learn and grow, that's an awesome thing as well, but it kind of goes the same way for the reviewers too. We've talked about that before. Once you put your review out there for public consumption, that's available too. And so we talk about a little bit of the responsible way to release anything into the world, not just books, and one of the things we always talk about, even now that we have this Discord space, is we encourage you to be honest, but we encourage you also to be kind. And I think that's an important thing no matter which side of the process you're on. So just something we remind people of from time to time.
Yeah,
I like it.
I've had a few reviews that were less than favorable, and it's as much as it might sting at that moment. I've found that the more you actually learn more from the constructive criticism than you do otherwise.
So we are at another chance to enter the giveaway. We don't have to censor ourselves anymore. Yay. So if you would like a copy of Jeff's books, he's doing both of them, the Ashen Yard and the Ashen Cleanse, physical copies. Yep. Put a gun down in the chat, and I will put you on our fancy giveaway wheel.
This no censoring thing is good. We can say fuck, shit, goddamn, motherfucker, and all that stuff.
We can, and also, I don't know if you've noticed, I have been dropping links to Jeff's things in the chat here. So I've got a link to his books on Amazon, so if you want to add them to your TBR, you can do that. I've put his website in there as well. And of course, we want to make sure that you're following Jeff on his social media platforms, especially in this time where everything is kind of up in the air. So if you have not yet, make sure you go follow Jeff after this. We love our authors. We love all of our guests and our viewers on Friday Night Writes. So make sure that you stay in contact because he's a wonderful human being.
Yes. And thank you to everybody who has found us and is watching us right now.
All right. I think I got them all.
All right. And we're going to move to our fun part. This is Evie's favorite part.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff, this is the most important question you'll ever be asked in your whole entire life, all right?
Ooh, okay.
Like, more important than what should we name our child. Like, it's a hard hitter, all right?
Okay.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Triceratops.
And that's an acceptable answer.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I passed the test.
Oh, but it's also not the right answer. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm never going to say that you're wrong, but you're also not right. It's a velociraptor, and I would also accept a pterodactyl.
Okay.
But
the spitty one. The spitty one that shoots acid out of its gills. It's not real.
Yeah, no, you need trigger warnings with that one, okay?
My wife is called T-Rex because she has T-Rex arms. So I guess that would be my favorite.
Felicia says the original Blue Ranger Zord.
From the Power Rangers, yes.
The incorrect answer is Barney.
Oh no, Barney. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with him. I used to carry him around the house and sing his little song all the time. I do sing the I Love You, Barney song to my kids, though. That one lingers.
I can sing it in this voice.
No, never do that again. Never again.
I love you. You love me.
And
all right, and that concludes Friday Night Writes. I am leaving. No, I'm kidding.
We kicked Brian out of the Discord.
I'm sorry. I thought this was the fun part of the interview.
Brian, your face is so red.
Yes. Oh boy. So, speaking of dinosaurs, if you could go back in time, what year would you travel to?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of it would be a time. Okay. I'll tell a little bit about myself. I'd go back to 1998 when I got burned out from basketball and I quit the high school basketball team.
Ah.
That was I mean, I was young and I was okay with the decision then, but I always think about it and I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have. I did. I straight burned out. I mean, that was the first sentence that came out of my mouth was, I want to play basketball. My mom has it documented in my baby book. Played it nonstop and I just crashed when I was 17. Yeah. So that's a boring answer, and maybe that was a little bit of a downer. But
No, not at all. No, I understand. Yeah. It's I think we all have that. Maybe there's one little part of our history where if we could just have one do-over, and I've asked
Yeah.
myself this question many times. It's like, yeah, I could go back. I can go back to my senior year of college and do this instead of do that. But then again, sometimes I think, well, if I zigged instead of zagged, would I be where I am now? And would I have the people
Yeah.
that I have? Would I be an author? Would I have the friends I have? Would I? You know what I mean? It's that's just that's the something I often wonder.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever change anything just because like I like where I'm at now, but there are certain things that I think I would at least warn myself were coming. If I could do the whole time machine thing. Like,
Right.
hey, when you get in this car, there's going to be an accident at 90 miles an hour and you're going to flip. So just like brace yourself. That would be chef's
That's
kiss.
true. Yeah, like Marty going back, giving Doc Brown the letter about being shot by terrorists.
Yeah, no, look, like y'all are like, I'd go back and I'd fix this mistake. I would just go tell Steve Irwin to not swim with the stingrays.
Oh boy.
Okay, like that's what I
Yeah.
would do if I could go back in time.
I'd go back to the what's her name? Shelley, the Frankenstein author.
Mary
Mary
Shelley.
Shelley.
Mary Shelley. Go back to that time, but bring my story and see if I just blow everybody's minds away.
Wow.
That would be cool.
Like 1984.
Yeah, I think maybe we should save Harambe and fix the timeline. Like,
I am convinced it all started. We split when Harambe got killed. Like, I miss that gorilla so much.
so transitioning from that sad moment in time to our next fun question, but what is the best gift you have ever been given?
Oh, that's a tough one. The best gift that I've ever been given.
Children.
Yes. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I will never forget the day my first son was born. I was thinking physical gift though, but that's such a generic answer, just saying the children. Because obviously, yes. I'm totally blanking on this question here. What do you guys have? Maybe it'll spark something in me if you have something.
I was recently
Okay, sure.
gifted a big bird.
I got.
So in our Dawn Riders chat, everybody has a nickname, and Brian is Big Bird, and I'm Chaos Baby, and she's either Innocent Ears or Tiny Hands. So they got personal gifts.
Oh,
I
also got
see
this
you.
one. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know why my camera is inverted like it is on TikTok. Somebody's going to have to give me a tutorial on that.
Back and body hurts.
Yes.
So my wonderful husband for Christmas got me a new bookshelf, and then he gave me a bunch of money to buy books for said bookshelf. But then he also got me this. All right. Oh, I should say this is not safe for work. So if y'all, want to close your eyes, you can. But it's a keychain.
Right.
Right, little thing
Oh.
inside moves, but on the opposite side, and it has our names on it.
That's freaking awesome.
We
Now,
like to call out to each other. I got him boxers with my face on it for 1 year.
See, I used to have a different answer for this, but my father-in-law recently made me a custom knife and put it in a shadow box with my book covers behind it. And that's one of the things he does for the family members. So it's like I'm officially welcomed into the family now. So that's the big one for me over here these days.
I have this too. Somebody gave me a friendship bracelet. It says "Eat me."
Nice. Okay.
Well, she did actually.
I recall that. As I'm glad I deflected a little bit. My wife and I, we hadn't been dating for I'd say maybe a year-ish or so. And I was still working at Pepsi. I worked on the weekends, and she bought tickets to a Seattle Seahawks game, and I'd never seen a Seattle Seahawks game. And she actually went into the Pepsi office and talked to the manager, Bill, and said, "Hey, I did this. Can Jeff have Sunday off for his birthday? And can we go to the game? And he said, yeah. I had no idea. So I don't remember how she broke it to me, but she's like, you don't have to go to work tomorrow. And we started driving to Seattle, and she got me in the 12th man section. We were only like 6 rows up, and I was like, are you kidding me that you did? It was so cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. I can't say I've been to a
That's
Seahawks
awesome.
game. I've been to many Mariner games, but not a Seahawk game.
So, what is the most daring thing you've ever done? Doesn't necessarily have to be illegal, just something that you were like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
I don't know if this is. I opted not to take a scholarship and play tennis at a college in Spokane so I could stay here in the Tri-Cities with my girlfriend, who is now my wife.
Nice.
It's always
I don't
hard.
know if
Y'all
that's
are like
daring.
adorable.
What's that?
Adorable.
But it is. It's always hard to take a chance on stuff like that.
It
You never know
was.
how it's going to pan out.
I,
That's impressive.
Yeah, so it all worked out, but not that it was daring, but I had an opportunity, and it probably would have been great if I would have done it, but I didn't. So
Well, my next
sorry, that was a
question
little
was
boring.
yeah. Well, my next question was going to be about love, but I think you pretty much answered that one. So I'm gonna pivot. Let's see. We talked about dinosaurs. So let's go to the other end of the spectrum, so to speak. Do you believe in aliens?
I do believe there has to be life out there. If you look at just space, the universe, and how vast it is, there has to be. Do I believe that they have contacted us? I do not.
Well, apparently they're in the ocean. So, I mean, there's that now.
And they
Alright,
built the pyramids.
Hey,
Hello.
Evie is queen conspiracy, though, for real.
I
So.
love conspiracy.
All right. Do you collect anything besides books?
I do. Not as much, especially like having kids and stuff now, but I grew up collecting baseball cards, even though I didn't play baseball.
Ooh.
That was the thing. And I actually just spent, I think it was like $600 over the summer. I bought some cards that, John Elway's my favorite quarterback of all time, and I bought the 1984 Topps complete set that has his rookie card, Dan Marino,
Nice.
and Eric Dickerson. Spent $400 on that, and then I bought another set that has can't remember what rookie it is, but I like to collect some of those things that seemed out of reach when I was a kid, because I didn't start collecting until the late 80s, early 90s. And so I try to get some of these early 80s to mid 80s stuff that I couldn't obtain when I was that age.
Yeah, my holy grail, so to speak, is the 1983 Topps baseball set. With the Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn, Ryan Sandberg.
I don't have that one. I have 84 on up. I don't have 83. That's awesome. It's fantastic.
So, what inanimate would be the most annoying if it played a loud, upbeat music while being used?
My shoes that I walk in, because I might not be in the mood for upbeat music all the time. And if that's all it did all the time, yeah.
That's a good answer. I always said my pillow.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
We've had sensible answers like that, and then we've had naughty answers in the past as well. So, I think toothbrushes.
Yeah, like I say, Bird's answer down in the the comments. She said a dildo.
That is a nice gift, I have to say.
I mean, like, they're loud enough.
Oh, or
Anyway.
that also if it played obnoxious music, But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it
No, I
depends
was
on
thinking
where it is. Maybe
an
you
adult
don't care.
toy that has Bluetooth, so you can listen to your true crime podcast.
They
my
do
God.
make those. I'm not gonna lie. That exists.
I'm
I
gonna
guess he's heading over to Amazon. Right?
I'm gonna take next one.
I'm gonna step over just 1 second. My phone is very low. I'm gonna grab my portable charger really fast.
Okay,
All right.
Be
sure.
right back.
All good.
That's all good. Yeah, so we can give us all a minute to say thank you again, and
Yeah.
since we have a moment, drop those guns down in the comments or up in the comments,
Ooh.
wherever the comments may be now.
Bonus entries. Put the pew pews in there.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll take the next one, and then I think we're each going to ask one more of our fun questions for the evening. We're going to
Yes.
do the schmiv, the giveaway, because now we can say the
We
word.
don't have to say
And it's
schmiv
both
anymore.
your sign-off. I know, it's so nice, and we can show our artwork on here and feature our spicy authors more effectively. It's so nice to be in Discord.
We can say dildo without worrying about
No.
getting bananaed or banned. We don't have to say banana
Better not
anymore.
get us banned on the YouTube, because they have songs like WAP on there with no edits. I think we're going to
Really?
be all right. Anyway, all right, we got Jeff back, so I'm going to ask you another question. What would you use to survive the zombie apocalypse? It should be up your alley as a dystopian fan.
Oh, what would I use? I'd probably use other people.
Use them as a human shield, huh?
Yep.
Nice.
Trick
You
them.
don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be faster than that one.
Yep.
So, from the ridiculous to the sublime, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, cookie dough.
Oh,
Yes.
me too.
I love cookie dough.
You and I gotta hang out sometime between burgers, baseball cards, and cookie dough.
Man, you and I, we just we'll do this or FaceTime or whatever, just show our car. Man, I could do that for hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Go
what
to
do
a
you got?
game, too.
Oh yeah.
Go to a game and have your burgers and ice cream after the game. It'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those garlic fries at the it's not Safeco anymore. I can't remember what the
Oh
name
yeah.
of the Mariners.
T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
T-Mobile,
It took me like 2 years to say T-Mobile instead of Safeco.
Yeah.
Okay. What food have you never eaten but would really like to try?
Oh man. I have had a form of this, but I want to go to Italy and have the original margherita pizza.
Ah.
I saw it on what's that guy? I
Andy
can't think of his
Bourdain?
name.
Anthony
No,
Bourdain?
it was he's an actor, he's Italian, and he would go through the different parts of Italy and over their cuisine. But he went to where the original margherita pizza was made, and it looked fantastic.
That sounds really good.
Was it Stanley Tucci?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good call, Nikki. All right, guys. So this is it. The last announcement for the giveaway. So I know y'all just did it. That was an extra entry. So go ahead and give us the pew-pews, the finger guns, the real ones, whatever.
You can say gun now.
Y'all are positive. I know.
I like pew pew. I like
Pew
it.
pew. Yes. Pew pew reminds me of stormtroopers.
Yes.
So, Jeff Spaur, can you please remind us where can we find you online besides this very platform, this wonderful Discord platform? Where else can we find you?
So on most of the other social media apps, TikTok was my big one, but we know what's going on. So I use a range of Sparhawk. So that's my last name and Hawk, and on Facebook. And I don't really use Instagram, but I'm probably going to start using it a little bit more now.
Mm-hmm.
JeffSparAuthor.com is my website. I'm really, really bad at updating. If you look, it's very old information on there, but it has email contact. I'm really good with email as well. So it's probably my best way of communication.
And we have dropped links to Jeff's website, to his Instagram, and to his threads in the comments here. So if you need direct links to find those things, you can. And that newsletter is going to be very valuable because no matter which social media sites go down, we can get a hold of you. So it's very important. Please subscribe.
I had a question for you.
Dropped his website and his Amazon links in the this week's author channel as well.
Yep, and the Amazon link is also in the chat too.
Have you guys looked into the Lemon 8?
It goes away with TikTok.
It goes away as well?
Yeah, because TikTok owns it, so it's going away too.
Okay, because I saw that it linked with it, and I didn't know if that would be... Anyway, never mind on that.
It's a bummer. I tried one too. I got one started, but as soon as they passed the legislation, that was it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not the same as TikTok. Like it's not the. I mean, it's sort of the same, but it's almost like a Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok hybrid. But either way, it's
also.
not.
Just so you know, you can also follow authors on Goodreads and on Amazon if you want updates too. So whenever there's a new book release or a new pre-order out, they will let you know. So if you haven't done that for any of your favorite authors, go do that. It also helps us with our visibility. If we have a lot of followers, we're kind of important on Zon. So something to keep in mind.
Yes, and you'll get one of those little pop-ups. On the release day, it says a book from an author you follow has been released. It's this book by this author.
And Samantha just went ahead and dropped the Amazon link again for Jeff for Amazon. Do you have any events?
Nothing that would reach this audience at this time. Everything that I have done right now has been local. So if I do, I would make an effort to have it put on my socials or on my website as well. But nothing I don't think that the audiences here can reach.
Well, Brian will load this up onto YouTube tomorrow. So someone that lives on the West Coast may be like, oh, hey, I could go to that.
Yep.
Now, is there anything else you would like us to know before we get to the part where we send some books home with some new readers?
I had a fabulous time. You are all hilarious. You're all wonderful people, and I knew Evie the best through TikTok, and we'll message occasionally back and forth. And Brian, I know I've seen your faces, and so it was good to chat with you. And the connection, Samantha, you and I have with teaching. Brian, we have the cheeseburgers and the baseball cards and ice cream. Man, this was fun.
It really was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're our author now because all of the Friday Night Writes interviewees are our authors, so. And you're welcome to promote in our Discord anytime. We do have a previously featured authors section, so drop any links, any pre-orders, anything like that, whenever you want.
All right, Sounds good.
What do they say? In the club, your fam?
Yeah, this is the club. We fam.
In the club, we all fam. Yep. All right, guys.
Great.
Give me a second, because this
all
is
right.
a new thing. Hold on.
I'm putting Evie's face up here for the benefit of
Oh,
those.
yeah, don't mind my
Oh, no. Stop being oh, no.
It's my motivation.
That was your motivation
don't
for the...
judge me.
Well, I think you succeeded in that part.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and spin. Let's go.
I still say it looks like a vinyl record.
Yeah, it does a little bit. S.A. Bird.
Hey, congratulations.
All right, yay.
So Sam, make sure you get in touch with Jeff so you can arrange for shipment for 2 signed books. You get the first and second one, the Ashen Yard and the Ashen Cleanse, which is always super exciting. If you did not win tonight, again, we dropped that link to Amazon. I think I saw that your books are in Kindle Unlimited as well. And it is double points day for Kindle. So if you go buy them and you use your free points to buy books a lot like I do, I just got Jeff's book for free because I had enough points saved up. So do that and get extra points because we don't want to give Daddy Bezos any money that he doesn't need. Come on now. It has been awesome to have you, Jeff, and to get to know you more. I know I got to know you a little bit through TikTok, but obviously that platform's going away. So it's been great chatting with you, and I'm super happy you joined us. I know Evie and Brian are too.
Yes.
Just so you guys are aware, we are going to continue doing these interviews here on Discord for the foreseeable future so that we can have a safe, stable, non-moderated platform. And then they do get uploaded to YouTube. Brian does that on Saturdays, and he will let you know when those are up.
Yes,
Next
I
week,
may
we have
actually be able
Kennedy
to do
Sutton
this.
coming.
I may actually be able to do this before bed tonight, but no promises. It'll definitely be up tomorrow morning.
Nice. Yeah, next week we have Kennedy Sutton, author of The Sneaky Lass and Queer Pirate Romantasy, joining us. And then, yeah, we have the interest form if you want to be a part of Friday Night Writes. I do believe that we are booked through December of this year, which is pretty cool because we only spotlight one author, one guest at a time. And we are still taking interest form applications for the anthology See Me As I Am, which benefits NAMI. All that information is here in our Discord as well. So just a quick rundown of all things.
Yeah, and as a guest, Jeff, if you wanted to submit a story for the anthology, you are more than welcome to.
Okay.
All of the information can be found in our link trees and then also in the Discord as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Awesome. I think this went really well for our first Discord. If you guys have any feedback of things that didn't work well on your end, I know it might hurt our feelings a little bit, but like if something didn't go right for you, we do need to know because it is a new platform. So if for some reason you weren't able to see video or hear audio at certain times or something like that, just let us know. Technical things do happen and we are adjusting. Also, if you haven't yet assigned your roles in the Discord from when you joined, you should do that. It gives you access to your exclusive spaces as reader, narrator, author, or influencer. Evie set that up. They're pretty cool, so make sure you take advantage of that. So, ooh, there's a 50% off link for Scrivener in my Discord under the Authors Helping Authors section right now in the Covenant of Chaos.
I believe that was
so, you want
Mr.
to come hang out with me?
Silverton.
Pretty cool.
Yes. So.
All right, you guys.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, Jeff.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
amazing.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone
that was
be
great.
sure to follow him and go check out his books.
Absolutely.
Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Dawn Riders.
Bye.
We out.